In the great movie Casablanca, we encounter the phrase, "I'm shocked to find gambling here." I have to say, sitting through this hearing and listening to our Democrat colleagues, I'm shocked that anyone would think there was weaponization at the Department of Justice or the FBI. It makes me wonder where my Democrat colleagues have been the last 4 years. In over 200 years of our nation's history, we've had 47 presidents. Mr. Blanche, of those 47 presidents, how many not named Donald John Trump have been indicted?
0.
How many presidents not named Donald Trump have been prosecuted?
0.
How many not named Donald J. Trump have had FBI agents arrive at their home and rifle through their home?
0.
Throughout 4 years of the brazen weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI, Senate Democrats sat by meekly and mutely. Understand, President Trump wasn't indicted once, he wasn't indicted twice, he wasn't indicted 3 times, 4 separate times. Bipartisan Democrat prosecutors.
The tension inside the Senate hearing room reached a boiling point when Senator Ted Cruz took the floor and delivered one of the most intense exchanges of the session. Referencing a famous line from the classic film Casablanca, Cruz opened with a sharp critique aimed directly at his colleagues in the Department of Justice. His argument, that the American people have witnessed something unprecedented in U.S. history, and that it has deeply damaged trust in federal institutions. What followed was a series of pointed questions, historical comparisons, and accusations that turned the hearing into a dramatic political moment. Let's break down exactly what happened.
Prosecutors who were terrified that the American people would vote to re-elect him. You heard just a minute ago my friend from Vermont ask you to defend the good men and women of the FBI. I agree, you should defend the good men and women of the FBI, and I'll tell you, I've heard from FBI agents who are horrified at an institution that had built a reputation for integrity being cheapened by being turned into a political weapon to attack the opposition of the Democrat White House. The single biggest thing, Mr. Blanche, you can do to protect the good men and women of the FBI is to restore integrity to the FBI and end the weaponization that has caused half of the country to no longer trust what used to be the premier law enforcement agency in the world. For 4 years, we saw the Biden Justice Department happily weaponize that agency to go after their political opponents. We saw Mark Houck, a pro-life protester who faced a pro-abortion protester who screamed and shoved his son, and he pushed the man back. In response for pushing a man back who had screamed at his 12-year-old son, the Biden Department of Justice and FBI sent an army of FBI agents at the crack of dawn to his house, machine guns drawn, to arrest him in front of his 7 kids. Mr. Houck had, by the way, offered, through his counsel, to turn himself in. In your many years as a prosecutor, have you ever sent an army of FBI agents to arrest someone who's offered to turn themselves in peacefully?
No.
And yet no one at the Department of Justice seemed troubled by that. They happily authorized that. And not a single Democrat on this committee, to the best of my knowledge, has ever asked one damn question about it. When the National Association of School Boards sent a letter to Joe Biden complaining that parents were unhappy by their radical policies that were happening to children, within days, the White House sent that to the Department of Justice, and days later, the Attorney General sent a formal memo to the FBI saying, target parents. I want you to go after parents who are exercising their First Amendment rights. And we've had moms and dads all over the country who've had the G-men come knocking on their door because they had the temerity to exercise free speech. Is targeting moms and dads who go to school boards and engage in peaceful speech, is that a permissible use of law enforcement?
Not in my view, Senator.
You know, if you look at this election, there are a number of issues on which there is a clear and unmistakable mandate. There is an unmistakable mandate to secure the border. Because for 4 years, Joe Biden and the Democrats defied the law. Federal immigration law is clear. Illegal immigrants who are apprehended shall be detained and shall be deported. Mr. Blanche, when the law uses the word shall, is that typically mandatory?
It is.
And what Joe Biden did is something no president in the history of our country has ever done. He refused to follow the law, released millions of illegal immigrants into America. He released murderers. He released rapists. He released child predators. He released Venezuelan gang members. If Joe Biden and the Democrats had been willing to follow the law, Laken Riley would still be alive instead of being murdered by a criminal illegal alien released by Joe Biden and the Democrats. If Joe Biden and the Democrats had followed the law, Jocelyn Nungary in my hometown of Houston, beautiful 12-year-old girl, raped and murdered by 2 illegal immigrants, Venezuelan gang members, Joe Biden had in custody and released. No president has ever done what Joe Biden and the Democrats did. And by the way, not a one of my Democrat colleagues, to the best of my recollection, ever asked one question about why the Department of Justice was refusing to follow the law. Mr. Blanche, is the Department of Justice doing its job if it refuses to follow the law and defies federal immigration law?
Not in my view, it is not.
We have a clear and unmistakable mandate to the voters. We will secure the border. We will stop releasing criminals and rapists and child molesters into our community. And there is a clear mandate. We will end the weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI. Does this committee have your commitment that you will be faithful to the law, to the Constitution, and you will bring integrity back to the Department of Justice?
Absolutely.
One final question, Mrs. Slater. You and I have talked about how I think the single biggest threat to free speech is big tech censorship. Please give this committee your views on the relevance of antitrust law to stopping big tech censorship, silencing the free speech of American people, and what are the conceivable array of tools and arrays of remedies under the antitrust laws?
Well, thank you, Senator. We did indeed talk about this. And I think we also agree that there are other tools available beyond antitrust. But what we agreed in principle is that in markets that are highly concentrated, conservative viewpoints or anybody's viewpoint can be quickly throttled or suppressed when there is market power on back of that. Someone can be disappeared from the internet quite easily. When there are only 2 platforms providing news, for example, to the American people.
And so the remedies are potential remedies?
Well, as with any antitrust enforcement matter.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, please like and subscribe for more Political Showdown. And thanks for watching.